Hi guys, so today we'll be checking out the NuPhy Halo65 HE keyboard. NuPhy has really been releasing some very nice holovet keyboards for these past months, but I gotta say this one is by far my favorite. It is a 65% keyboard featuring 8000Hz polling with 8000Hz scanning to achieve a very low latency across the board, and it is possible to get this board with the Gateron Jade Pros pre-installed, which are some of the nicest feeling and sounding magnetic switches out there currently. Currently this board is on pre-sale for around $99 with the Jade Pros, and you can shave an extra $10 off with the code JERRORR, so the resulting price will be around $90 with the Jade Pros, which is a very nice price. The pre-sale runs till December 5th, and after that the price will rise $10, which still is not a bad price for this, I think. A full set of Jade Pros costs separately around $60, so the price of this board is kind of crazy. But let's take a look at the case and the overall build quality. So the look of this keyboard is very NuPhy-like. It is slightly futuristic but very clean overall. The top plate is made from aluminum and the bottom is constructed from a nice looking and feeling grey ABS plastic with these height adjustable stands that have two different height settings. Now, without the stands, the board is tilted at around 5 degrees angle, then it is 8.5 degrees with the middle stands, and the taller stands are then 12 degrees. Like this. The name Halo65 comes from the surrounding RGB beam that separates the aluminum plate from the plastic bottom of the keyboard, and of course you can have some RGB backlights happening on it as well. From an aesthetic standpoint, this lighting beam looks very nice looking from the sides, but the bleed to inside the case is a bit distracting to me. I would also like to be able to control the lighting of this upper LED beam separately, since I think it looks very nice, but sadly it is currently using the same effects as the outside beam. But those are really my only nitpicks of this board. You can also purchase a separate wrist rest that complements the keyboard design really well, but I personally like to support my forearms on the edge of my desk and float my hands on top of the keyboard, so I'm not a wrist rest guy myself. But the wrist rest is made from acrylic with an aluminum bottom rail. It is very sturdy, and yeah, I think it looks nice if you are a fan of wrist rests. Inside the keyboard we can find a very nice stack of sound dampening under the aluminum plate, and there are two layers of poron foam and silicone layer as the bottommost layer, and also on the spacebar we have NuPhy signature silicone padding along with the spacebar stem housing being made from silicone, so we have a really pleasant feeling spacebar as well. You can get this board with two different switch options, the magnetic coral and Jade Pros, and on mine I have the Jade Pros, hence I can't really comment on the corals, but all I can say is that the Jade Pros feel and sound insanely good. Just listen to this. The Jade Pros have an initial force of 36 gram force, bottoming out at 50 gram force, and the total travel distance is around 3.3 millimeters, which is slightly less than on Wooting's lacquer switches, so some slight adjusting may be needed. But so far my consistency with the switches has been very good on this keyboard, and I adjusted to the travel distance pretty quickly. The stem wobble is also like very minimal on the switches, which adds to the very premium typing feel of this keyboard. The keycaps are the same double shot PBT as on the Field 75 HE. They are cherry profile and they look and feel very nice as well. The sidewall thickness is around 1.5 millimeters, which is very decent. I also got these shine through PBT keycaps for this keyboard, which I did not bother changing since I don't like shine through on the switches. These are called Canopus shine through keycaps and they cost around $24 extra. I think the lettering is kind of tacky and positioned weirdly, but that is just a preference thing really. On these NuPhy boards, one of the things I really like is the ease of profile switching, and yet again you have 3 different profiles to to choose from, and the switching is very convenient with the small switch located on the upper left corner. On the web driver, you can adjust things like your key bindings, trigger settings, macros, lighting effects, and then some general settings like your desired polling rate, a tick rate if the game you are playing are experiencing missed key inputs, and the stabilization level for your switches if you are experiencing wobbliness with the switches, which I did not have with the Jade Pros. On the trigger pane, you can change the actuation distance starting from 0.1mm with the minimum steps of 0.02mm, but you can also choose to use a higher granularity of 0.1mm if you prefer that. Then you can set initial dead zones if you want that, but the board has some already hidden and pre-configured, so I did not feel the need for those. The rapid trigger settings are also like previously, so you can change the rapid trigger to 0.02mm as the most sensitive setting, and you can also choose to separate the rapid trigger actuation and release sensitivities if you choose. Here lies pretty much the only bug that is still present in the software, and that is that if I choose not to separate the rapid trigger sliders, the software does not remember that, and I need to set that every time I configure this board. A pretty minor thing, but slightly irritating. On the key by this page, you can set SOCD and NuPhy's other advanced functionalities with right-clicking a key and choosing from the menu that opens up. I explained these better in the Air60HE video, so take a look at that if you want. Personally, I am using the lowest actuations on the WASD, then some custom actuation points for my super gliding keys, which is spacebar and V, and some other keys have rapid trigger on as well that benefit from that. For example, the key I use to loot in Apex, and shift so I don't dead slide so easily. Using this keyboard in games has been very enjoyable, and I really have no bad things to say about this board. If we disregard the comments about the RGB. It feels very responsive, the actuation points feel very stable even with the lowest settings, and I honestly can say that this is probably the best pre-built Hall effect keyboard you can get with this price point, and even compared to higher price points. If the performance metrics that a Korean YouTuber iJoker got with the Air60HE are comparable with this one as well, this board pretty much rivals the Wooding 80HE in latency and all other metrics, which for this price is kinda crazy. Sadly, I can't do my own measurements yet since I lack the technical knowledge and free time to make my XLAT measure keyboard latencies, and other methods just seemed a bit inconsistent, but I hope sometime in the future they can make that possible as well, and I can give you some actual performance metrics. Compared to another top tier Hall effect keyboard in the same layout, the Iqnix EZ63, NuPhy's software and UI in their current state is just way more refined, and NuPhy just seems to be very eager to update their software as well, which tells me that the company is very dedicated to their customers. So in conclusion, this board is awesome.